Hello and welcome to Latinas with a Mic. I'm your host, Jennifer.
And I'm your host, Rosa.
And today we have a really special guest. We have a Latina photographer, right? Grew up in New York, based in Memphis now. And before I
That's
introduce her
exciting.
here, we have with us Esme Kyle.
Welcome,
And
Esme.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
we are really glad and excited, specifically me right now, because the way that me and Esme met, it was actually me planning my wedding. And I was looking for photographers and I saw her page and I'm like, somebody that can finally capture black skin good. She's not making lighter. She's not making them pale. She's not making them like looking like what they're not. I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody that can capture my skin tone, my fiance's skin tone, and looking good.
Yeah.
And make it
I'm
look
excited about this
professional.
conversation. I
Yeah.
think this conversation has a little bit for both of us. For Johnny, it's the wedding part. So, Esme,
Yeah.
you bring something to the both of us. And for me, I'm excited to talk about the branding and the social media and, for small
Yeah.
businesses specifically and how that helps. So, this is great. I'm really excited.
Yeah. I'm really excited
Thank you
too.
for being here.
I'm excited too. I'm so happy that when I came into contact with Johnny Field that I did not know about your podcast. I
Mhm.
didn't know about her travel agency. I didn't know that there was this community that was out there in
Mhm.
Memphis. And now my eyes are opening and I'm realizing that our community is vast and that
Yeah.
we have
Yes.
so much to offer. And it's like, I just feel very proud to be part of that.
Ah, I love that. So
Right.
like
So,
that's
for the
oh, I'm
I,
sorry.
I was gonna say, so for the people that don't know you, do you want to introduce yourself and what do you do?
So my original given name is Esmeralda Santiago. I am a Puerto Rican and
Yeah.
I am originally, like Yanni Phil said, I am from the Bronx, New York. So I would be considered a New Yorican. As a matter of fact, I almost wore my New Yorican shirt and then I said, no, let me not because I'll mess up my makeup. But I just said, no, I'm going to wear this dress. So anyway, I lived there for pretty much all my life until I met this handsome dude from the South.
Yeah.
And he kind of brought me down here. He did not bring me dragging, kicking, and screaming. I willingly left the city to come and live in Memphis, and I fell in love with this city. And we did move back briefly to New York, but then I ended up coming back here. So
Like this is
my husband and I have been married for over 26 years. I've been doing
Oh,
photography for going on 12 years. Going on 12
wow.
years.
Mhm.
2025 will make 12 years in photography. And before that, I was telling Johnny Phil that I was doing travel. So we did have that in common
Mhm.
as well. So I
Yeah.
was doing travel for many years because I had a little one and I was, wanting to stay home and work from home. But I think traveling is what sort of kind of piqued my interest in photography because as you know, when you travel, you
You
take
have to
these
pick.
pictures. Everything
Mhm.
is so beautiful. You
Yep.
see so many amazing sights. You see beautiful architecture. You see gorgeous sunsets. And you see so many beautiful colors, and the world itself is just full of color and full of beauty. And, especially when, if you believe in God and you believe in a higher source,
Mhm.
you know that you are just in awe of it. And then I also found that taking pictures of just friends, clients, colleagues, family members, and catching them in their raw emotion, that also was appealing to me. So it just made sense to just gravitate towards photography. So that's kind of how that started.
That's smart. I didn't think of that. But then when you started
Mhm.
explaining, I'm like, yeah, that's true. Every time that we travel, that's one of the main things we have. And mostly now, like you were doing that before. Imagine now where you have to also be a content creator. So it's
Right.
like everywhere you go, you do have to take the best videos, the best things, catching the exactly how it feels when you go. So you do kind of become a photographer in that sense. So that was
That's
smart. Right
true.
there.
That is true.
Well, I guess
So I
she
mean, I think
answered our question about our first question, which was what inspired you to become a
Mhm.
photographer, and that's actually Very, like Johnny said, that's, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would like to know, like, okay, so you became a photographer, but what makes you kind of specialize to be like, okay, the wedding wear and the
Yeah.
Mhm.
branding, right?
Yeah.
And how your Latina heritage
Hmm.
influenced your journey.
So when I first started out doing photography, it was for fun. I was just doing it and sharing my photos on Facebook. And then before I know it, people were like, oh, can you take pictures of me and my kids? Or, oh, can you do this photos for me? And things like that. And so I started really enjoying it and getting, more into it and
Yeah.
learning it, especially. Um, how I got into weddings is funny because the very first year I became a, a photographer, I formed a business. One of my close friends said, I want you to do my wedding. And I looked at her and I said, you're crazy, right? Because I've never done a wedding before.
Oof.
And she said, I trust you. I said, okay. Oddly enough, her name is Faith. She had faith in me. And I said, okay, Faith, I'm going to do this. But she didn't know that I went completely like boot camp on her. And she
Mm-hmm.
didn't know, but I was diving into everything I could absorb when it came to photography. I did online courses. I did workshops. I trained with people. I shadowed people. I volunteered to do free shoots. Like I did everything I could to be
So you can be
prepared
ready.
for this
Mm-hmm.
one big day because I took it so seriously. And so anyway, I really got into it, and the wedding turned out great. And then after that, I just started booking weddings. And I didn't book a lot of weddings at first. Like for the first few years, I wasn't booking a ton of weddings. But then started getting published. So I got published by Mona Lucci Bridal magazine, and then I was getting features by all these other different like blogs and all these outlets. Next thing you know, I'm being put up as one of Memphis's best 25 wedding photographers.
Wow.
I'm winning the Couples Choice Award from Wedding Wire, which I've won 7 times now. And it's
Oh,
like I just
just say.
Wow.
and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but the reason I say all of that is because I never thought I'd end up here. I literally started out just doing it for fun, and now here I am. So I
Yeah.
can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt that I am a wonderful wedding photographer, an experienced wedding photographer,
Yeah.
and I know that anyone who works with me is going to have an amazing experience. So, Johnny Phil, what you were asking about my Latina influence.
Yeah.
I come from very strong women. I would love to take this picture off the wall and show you
Oh,
that my grandmother was a proud Afro Latina, darker than my husband. I'm married to an African American,
mm-hmm.
and she was a proud Afro Latina with 9 children. She hustled. When I tell you she hustled, she hustled. She never sat down. She was always working. She had a crazy work ethic, and she instilled that in my mom. And my mom raised me, um, and my mom is the same way. So that fierceness, that you know, Latina pride, that strength,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things I take with me, and I instill that into everything I do. The other thing, as a New Yorican, if there's any New Yoricans out there,
You know
and
they
there's
are.
any Boricuas out there, y'all know how we do. And
Yeah.
y'all know that one of the big things about us, la salsa, the food, the passion, the music, and I'm also loud. And I think a lot of Southerners were not prepared for my big personality.
Mm-hmm.
But when
Same.
I came down here, I threw it out and I said, you're going to get this. I come
Yeah.
with the package.
This
And
me.
so that's what makes me stand out. It's like I dance everywhere I go. I celebrate the colors. I celebrate the diversity. I celebrate all the cultures. I celebrate so much. And I
Yeah.
think it has a lot to do with my upbringing and my culture. So yeah.
Well,
Love that.
I think that the next question I was going to ask you was, what is like your unique approach to
Mhm.
taking the wedding pictures, but also like your branding photos. But I
Yeah.
think that is pretty much it, her approach is
Mm-hmm.
that, like, is your personality and the way you come,
Mm-hmm.
you go to these weddings. And is there, I want to say, like, is there like a secret recipe for taking the perfect wedding photos,
Yeah.
like that only wedding photographers know of
Right.
in weddings?
So I do photography mentoring, and I had a mentor, a student that I was teaching about flash, but we would discuss so many different things. And one of the things that she talked to me about was that she didn't love certain sessions that she did, and like certain engagement shoots and stuff like that. And she's like, they're not giving me the energy, they're not real, they don't have a lot of chemistry, and I just felt like I didn't know what to do with them and stuff like that. And my first question to her was, well, what's their story? What do you know about them? And she didn't know much. She didn't
Yeah.
ask those
Yes.
questions. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't connect with them.
Exactly.
And Johnny Phil knows, I don't want to keep you on your console too long, but I need to know your story,
Exactly.
because that connects me to you. So when I show up at the engagement, when I show up to any client meetings we have, when I show up on the wedding day, I know about you, I know about him, I know about your family, I know about your
Mm-hmm.
kids, I know about what things that make you laugh, what things make you mad. I know your music style. I
Mm-hmm.
know all these things about you, because you haven't done the engagement session with me, Johnny Field, but these are questions I ask before the engagement session. I get to know them so that when we show up to the engagement, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to vibe with you. And
Oh.
so my first ingredient or secret is no secret. Connect with your person, connect with your subject, because these are human stories, and a love story is like the most beautiful story. Like, that's the one
Mhm.
that you have to connect with. And Rosa, to your question about branding, I think the same thing goes into it, because what I do is, before I do a branding session, I ask a lot of questions. It's the same way I ask my couple a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions. What vibe are you going for? What do you
Mhm.
feel? What's your goal for this session? What are you trying to convey to your potential customer? What is your brand about? And so these are things that are part of your story. You are a journey as a business person. And so your branding photos have to represent your journey, just like your wedding photos have to represent your journey. So it's all related, it's all tied into each other.
So talking about that, I mean, I guess that we get that is crucial, but why do you think that branding is crucial for small businesses,
Mm-hmm.
especially in today's competitive market?
Absolutely. Why is it crucial? You're asking why?
Hmm.
Look at you. You're the face of your podcast, right? Both of you. So you can put out a flyer, you can put out whatever you want, but the first thing people see is you. That's the first thing they see.
Yeah.
So let's say you make um flowers. Let's say you are a florist or whatever. Yes, the first thing people are looking for are your floral designs. Absolutely. They want to see your work. They want to see what you do. But at the same time, they want to know who they're dealing with.
Yeah.
So when you put yourself out there, when your content includes you, when you show up in your stories and you show them what you're doing behind the scenes, whatever you're putting yourself out there for your brand, people are connecting with who? With you. Not with your
Mm.
flowers, not
Yeah.
with your product, not with your business name. They're connecting with you.
Yeah.
So that is what gets you followers. That is what gets you engagement on social media. That's what gets you views, and that's what gets you referrals, because the
Yeah.
people are going to refer. You know what they're going to say? They're not going to say, oh, I know a photographer, their name is incredibly wing. No, they're going to say, I know Esme. Esme's a great photographer,
Yeah. Yeah.
so let me refer you to Esme. And so
Yeah.
you are the name of your brand. So my branding strategy is a personal branding strategy. So I'm
Mhm.
not really like a corporate branding person. I can totally do corporate headshots, and I'm happy to do them for businesses. But I really feel passionate about personal branding. Like I really feel passionate about the little small businesses and the
Yeah.
ones that are like really trying to come up, and they're trying to put that like that stamp out there and say, this is me, this is what I offer. And yeah, I'm all about that because again,
Yeah.
it's the story, it's the journey.
And it's funny that you say that because just today, Rosa was telling me how she was looking through our YouTube videos,
Yeah,
and she was like, "Hey, the videos that have the most views is the ones that we are in the cover.
there you
You
go.
know, those that we
Oh
put
yeah,
somebody
that is
else
true.
are. You remember? And she was saying those that we put like the people that come and do the interview with us, they don't have
Mm-hmm.
that many engagement. And I guess
No,
because people are looking for us, like they're looking
yeah,
for our podcast. So
yeah.
when you said it, it's like that's what Esme. That's what exactly what Rosa was saying. Like
Think
what Esme.
about think about when you're scrolling through YouTube. I mean, one of the first things you're going to notice is that cover. You're going to notice that,
Yeah.
and it's going to draw you into it. Like somebody who's trying to tell you about the best burger in Vegas, if they just show a picture of Las Vegas and then the video under it is showing the actual burger and someone going like this, what you going
Uh-huh.
to click on? You're going to
Yeah.
notice the views for that video are going to be way up there because
Yes.
it draws you in. It
Yeah.
literally draws you in, you know.
I was talking to Johnny Phil about this. There's this business, a lot of local businesses in Memphis, I feel like don't really know the power of a good branding.
Yeah.
And I was telling her that I remember when this business, Ta Con Ganas, it's what it's called. You've heard of it.
Yeah.
When
Oh
they
yeah.
first came
Who
out,
hasn't heard of them?
when they first started out, the birria and stuff, the birria tacos that you dip in the consomme, they were like very
Mm-hmm.
popular. And, you know, you would see a lot of that reels like in other places, right? But they took that and created their own video. And then I think they promoted it, but it was all through this branding and they promoted it. And I remember the first time I went because of this that I saw on social media. And there was the longest line and they were so, successful. But I think that they really made effort when it came to social media and promoting,
Yes.
you know, their brand and
Yeah.
through that. So I was telling Jennifer, like, I don't see that a lot here. And one thing I do, at least when I'm looking for whatever it is, whatever business, whether it's a nail tech or a lash tech or a restaurant or whatever, I go on social
Mm-hmm.
media. I go on Instagram and I'm looking 901 nail techs or whatever, you know.
All of that.
And
I
depends on how their branding looks, on
mm-hmm.
how their pictures look, on how their
Yeah.
videos look. It's who I'm going to
Right.
choose for my
You buy
business.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, it's not even to say that you cannot have a successful business without a picture of yourself on there, because you can totally have a successful business. As a matter of fact, I know of a designer, an event designer that does a lot of weddings. She's pretty booked. And I had a conversation with her one time at a wedding that we did. And I said, why aren't you on Instagram? She said, oh, I don't do that. I don't do Instagram. And I said, well, your page is, your name is on there, but there's nothing there. And she said, no, I just do everything on Facebook. And I said, okay, well, then there's that. And if you look at her business page, there's not really much there either. But on her personal page, the entire thing that she does is cell phone photos. She is still booked. She still gets bookings. She's
By
not worried
refer-
about it.
I'm sure by referrals, like people.
But let me tell you, why are we sharing our photos to social media? Why? What's the purpose of sharing what we do? If you're a business owner, what's the purpose of sharing it to social media? Let me ask you guys that. What's that?
So people can
What's
see
it for?
what you can offer. Like, okay, if I'm a travel agent and I show you what kind of trips I do, what type of activities I do during my trips, it's like how I can help you if you book me.
So what you're saying is that you want business.
Absolutely, yeah,
So
100%.
if you're going to share photos and you're satisfied with these grainy, low light, basic photos that happen to get you bookings,
Well, dang.
you're getting, you're getting,
Okay.
you're getting,
Johnny, do
you're getting the booking.
I'm just kidding. Oh, yeah.
You're
Me hurt
booked.
my heart a
I'm
little
booked
bit.
this weekend. I'm booked next weekend. I'm booked 2 weekends after that. That's
Yeah.
great. But
Mm,
you wouldn't be sharing those photos if you didn't want business.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
imagine if you took time and took a little investment and put money into those photos and made sure that your content was on point, and then turned around and upgraded your business pages so that people will find you and you'll reach more markets. You'll have more reach. You will reach people that you don't normally reach. Your business is by word of mouth. You're doing well, but you clearly are not out of business. You're clearly still in business. So
Yeah.
you want people to find you. So
Yeah.
why not give them something to talk about? Like that song, let's give them something to talk
Yeah.
about. That's what I'm saying. Give them something to
Yeah.
talk about. So my whole thing is, yes, it's an investment. Yes, you might think it's optional because you got a fancy phone and everything is cool,
Yeah.
but you still have to put in that time, that money, and that investment so that you can reach a lot more people. It's almost to the point where if you have that kind of reach, you don't even have to share that much of your work. Like you don't even have to take cell phone pictures because you're going to have everything laid out. Everything's going to look
Yeah.
polished. I wanted to speak on something that you guys were saying about the amount of businesses and the fact that a lot of, especially Latin owned businesses, that they're not taking advantage of what they can take advantage of, because I pulled up this graphic on discoverhispanicmemphis.com,
What?
and
Discover
it
his
said there's a
business.
website, girl. I didn't
There's
even
a
know
website. We
that
didn't
was
even
I'm
know
gonna
of
really
it.
Google that.
discoverhispanicmemphis.com, and I actually found them on Instagram and gave them a follow. But what they were saying about the Latin, presence and the powerful dollar that we have, $26.3 billion in Hispanic gross domestic income in Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee.
Oh
That means
wow.
we are bringing in great money.
Mother.
We are
Mm,
making money. Okay, we're not just out here scrambling for money. We are making money.
exactly.
The estimated count of Hispanics residing in Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee, over 830,000. Now imagine that buying power. That's out there. Okay. The amount of Hispanics estimated residing in Memphis, over 62,000. And the amount estimated of Hispanics residing in Nashville, over 96,000. So the buying power is out there. The buying power is out
Yeah.
there. And all we need to do is make sure that our businesses are offering, our
Yeah.
community, and not just service, quality service. I just did
Exactly.
a wedding in Arkansas, Jonesboro, Arkansas. And the owner of the business that catered this wedding, this was a white wedding. The caterer and cake designer was a Latina.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw them in the kitchen, like preparing things, I was thinking, I was looking for the caterer. I was looking, so that's their assistants. They're helping. That's the
No, that's their
owner.
business. Yeah.
When I tell you, I wish I could show you the photos of the food. When I tell you the most bomb, like classy display, charcuterie, like
Beautiful.
little bites. The cake was gorgeous. The setup was like, it blew my mind. And then on top of it, it was all delicious. So,
Exactly.
and it was just a variety of things that people need to know about her. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went and I shared her page to my stories. I followed her. I feel like she needs to come bigger than Jonesboro. She needs to do
Mm-hmm.
weddings everywhere,
Yeah.
because and not just because she's a Latina business owner, but because she is the bomb business owner. It's like we
Exactly.
we identify ourselves and we say that I'm a Latin female business owner, with a minority business owner, which is an amazing thing to be proud of. But
Mm-hmm.
we should not be just focusing on our own community. We should be trying to expand and
Oh
reach
yeah.
everybody, because these numbers I gave you are just the Latin community. And
Yeah.
in those numbers are a whole lot of business owners. So we have, if this is just our community, that's untapped potential. Imagine all of the area, the tri-state.
Exactly.
It's a
Exactly.
lot. Hmm.
That is
I think
absolutely true.
social media has not been used enough, and
Right.
branding is not being used enough for
Mm-mm.
this. I mean, even me before, when I had the beauty brand, I think I didn't even prepared about branding until later on. I started kind of learning
Right.
about it, and then
Yeah.
decided
Right.
to do a branding shoot and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
just going into a business, it wasn't something that I thought about, or like the
Right.
branding packages with, like, where you choose
Right.
like the colors that are going to represent your
Right.
brand, and like what you were
Yeah.
mentioning earlier, the vibe. So
Mm-hmm.
with that, I want to ask you, like, what does a branding include? Like, what is branding for you, like for a
Right.
brand?
So I do a number of different things for businesses. I'm having an event coming up in November, November the 17th, which is a branding and headshot marathon. And I know my girls are gonna be there. I can't wait to work with you guys.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be dope. But what I do with the marathon events is we the same approach, the same question, line of questioning. We strategize. We think about what's gonna happen. The session is only 20 minutes. And I've had a lot of people say, well, what can you possibly do in 20
But
minutes?
you can do
I
that.
said, you'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I have fall mini sessions happening right now. And when I shoot with a family for 20, 25 minutes, whatever it is, I come home and I load all those pictures up into my software. I have taken 500, 600 pictures
Oh,
just of
wow.
them. And they have and I have to, like, obviously choose the best out of the bunch, and then they choose 10 from that set. So these mini sessions, and then they can purchase more if they so desire to
Yeah.
purchase more. I worked with an event planner at my last marathon who ended up purchasing like 40 images from me, because
Yeah.
Huh.
she was like, this whole session is dope. I want it all, because the price point is low. The price point is low because I have not been focusing on branding this whole 12-year career. I have been focusing on weddings and families. And so
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mhm.
last year and a half is what I've been adding branding to my like core services. And so these events are price point low for a reason, because I want to interest the community in getting their branding going and
Exactly.
getting it upgraded, going ahead, getting updated headshots, getting some good content for their social media. And so I didn't want to start up here, even though with my expertise, I could be up here. I started down here.
Yeah.
And what I do is I take the images, I devote a lot of time making sure the session is perfect for you, because we've only got a short window of time per
Mm-hmm.
session. So I devote a lot of time on the front end to make sure that the session is right. And then once we go to that, then we edit the pictures, and then you decide whether you are good with just the 10 or you want to add more. Then for other things that we offer outside of that, I have content packages where people could sign up for 3 months. I had a nonprofit. I did for 3 months. I did 6 sessions for them. And it was just a variety of different things. It was like, I need you to come take pictures of this class that we're teaching. I need you to go take photos, stock photos of Memphis. I want downtown photos. We need that for our website. I need you to go to this event that was hiring event that we're doing. I need you to go to a community event that we want pictures of. And so I was being sent to all these different things so that the nonprofit could have content. They needed content for their
Mm-hmm.
website. They needed
Yeah.
content for social media. They needed content for all these different marketing things. They had a whole big grant that they were going to do. They needed
Yeah.
content for that. So they needed the content. I work with a company that does luxury home construction. She hired me for the 3 month content package. I came in, I did photos of her home, I did her headshots. She did this workshop down at Renaissance Bank. I did that for her. So it's kind of like having paparazzi follow you everywhere,
Literally.
for
Yeah.
like for like 6 sessions. And so I offer that option. I offer a 6-month option. I offer a mini headshot session. I offer extended headshot sessions. So
Mm-hmm.
business owners have a variety of
Yeah.
things that they can find useful. And one thing I do believe, especially I was talking to some event planners very recently, and I was telling them, I said, when you're setting up a big event, because a lot of times as a wedding photographer,
Yeah.
I really do try to share images with the vendors that work the wedding. If if I
Oh,
know
that's
them,
really
especially,
nice. That's really nice.
I really do. I really do. But I'm not
Especially
gonna
with
sit
the
here.
wedding planner. I will
Yes,
feel like you will help that a lot.
correct. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say I'm laying awake at night, like, oh, let me remember. Sometimes I forget. And sometimes I'm delayed and I don't have those images edited right away. A content photographer, a branding photographer, can be brought in by a wedding professional or a wedding vendor and can say, okay, they're shooting the wedding. I need you to come at this time and do photos of my work. And they
Exactly.
can come in there and they can do these photos. Because I worked with a branding photographer at a very recent wedding that I did. He was working that side of the room. I was working this side of the room. I had no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
But his work was specifically for the decorator,
Exactly.
specifically for that vendor. And a lot of weddings that happens. And so you can hire a branding photographer, a content photographer, to come in and shoot photos of your work. So, like, if you know you're having a big event and you're like, I gotta get good photos of this. I don't know this photographer. I never worked with them before. I don't know if I'm ever gonna see those pictures or when they're gonna show up or how they edit. If that's you, hire a branding photographer.
There you
Hire
go.
a branding photographer to come in and shoot for you so that you have amazing content of your work.
Yeah.
And that is just something I encourage every person out there, every creative. If you
Yeah.
know that you're involved in a big project and you know that you're going to need content, reach out to content people. They will help you.
And people, I think, and I include myself
Mm-hmm.
because I have to upgrade things on my business and everything. And part of the reasons why I have not been doing is because I haven't been investing on it. But people have
Yes.
to see it as an investment. Like
Yes.
sometimes you see as like it's just pictures. It's just
Yeah.
pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anybody can take those pictures. Like, why
Right.
don't you take those pictures and edit them for me? But it's like, but do they know what kind of pictures they can take? Like, are they really gonna look professionally done? You know,
Right.
and it's an investment. Like one of the things that I said which is funny because I said it for the wedding, but I didn't say it for my business, which is the one giving me money, and the wedding is the one taking money from me. But I say I knew that even if I do like a really small, little tiny wedding, I still want a good photographer that
Right.
could capture the day
Right.
because everybody tells me, "Oh my god, it goes so fast," and I'm like,
It does.
"Oh my god, I want somebody that can capture everything for me." Then that
Yeah.
when I look back, I'm like, "Oh, maybe I didn't enjoy it like physically in the moment because it felt so fast, but I can see now what everybody was doing, how everything
Right.
went, and have
Right.
a good memory of the day. Same thing with my videographer. I want somebody,
Mm-hmm.
like I told you that day, I want somebody that can do like I don't know, like a movie type of thing or like a
Cinematic.
exactly. I want something like that, something like a music video, like a
Mm-hmm.
visual
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I want. So if you're not
Yeah.
like that, then I don't want you
Saying I
because
don't
I think
want
that's
you.
what's important. I want to have like in 20 years, I can show to my grandkids and I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? This is us or my kids or whatever. And it feels like, oh, wow, I can see myself in that place?
But I've told people this on lots of consults. I've told people this in real life. The wedding day, when it's over, every vendor goes home. Every flower dies.
Oh, yeah.
Every food, all the cake is gone. The decorations come down. The venue got paid. They close up. They're ready for the next person, right? What are you left with?
Yeah, the pictures and the memories. That's it. Picture memories
That's
and the
it.
videos. That's it.
And not only that, but the one thing because did you guys hear about the photographer that was on the news that ruined several brides' weddings and like ghosted them. And so there was a very recent story that made
That's
all the headlines, and it was about a photographer that came recommended by multiple other people, including planners, for having done weddings before. And apparently, what this guy did was he told multiple brides that they didn't get their photos because the files had gotten corrupted. And
oh my
first
God.
of all, the way you fix that problem is that you don't shoot with one card, you shoot with two. So if you were shooting and worked your spit, you would have known that when you're doing a wedding, you have to have a backup plan. The other
Yeah.
thing is that we have systems in place so that when we come home, the photos on that card go to this source, go to that source, they go on the cloud, they go here, they go there,
So
they
it's enough
go,
for you to look at.
there's no way that you're going to have just corruption everywhere. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then the thing with him was that he also just left them hanging. Like, he didn't communicate with them. He didn't explain along the way what was happening. He just
Yeah.
kind of just left them hanging. He ghosted them completely. And so there's something to be said for a client experience. What I will tell any bride out there is look them up on Wedding Wire,
I
look
was
them
about
up
to
on
say that.
Google. I got to get my Google ratings up, but most of my couples review me on Wedding Wire. But I got to get my Google ratings up, but I'm 5-star on Google, so I'm good. But
Listen.
but the but and I'm also 5-star on Wedding Wire. But you gotta see what other people are saying. Like, go out there and
Mm-hmm.
ask the
Well,
questions.
anybody.
Ask the questions. You gotta
Yeah.
ask, and you have to see full galleries. You have to really know that this person is invested. And the other thing is too is chemistry. If you
Yeah.
don't have a connection with this person from the beginning, like if you don't feel like this is someone that you can have over for family dinner, I would say skip it.
Yeah.
I would say
And
skip it.
I feel that's also the downfall part of social media, that a lot of
Yeah,
people portray themselves or advertise themselves as like, oh my god, I'm this great photographer, right? Like, and sometimes you get to find out that they were stealing pictures from somebody else. It wasn't even their pictures. They never even done a
right,
wedding, or they never been to an event. They're just stealing
right,
people, and you're over here seeing there's just only their social media, and you're like, oh yeah.
right. Right.
And
Because
then you
on
start
social
to
media,
feel
you're going
like,
to put it out. Whatever the best is, you put it out, which is why I say ask for full galleries so that
yeah,
you can see what a wedding looks like from start to finish and not just the best pictures,
yeah,
because you also have some photographers out there, and this is no, not looking down on
yeah.
anybody or their style of photography, but you have a lot of photographers that are only going to share daylight photos.
uh
Why are you not sharing photos from inside a dark room? Why are you not sharing photos from when it was raining outside, when you were stuck
that's that.
inside, when the venue is low light and all the beautiful sunset and gorgeousness that you had planned on at why you picked that venue, you can't even take advantage of it now because it's pouring or lightning or crazy
Yeah,
outside. And so you're stuck inside this venue, you
yeah,
know? What does that look like?
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, so there's a lot of things you have to ask. You also have to ask wedding photographers, what are their plans in case something goes wrong? During the pandemic, we all learned that a lot of things can happen. And
Mm-hmm.
so do you have things in place for when something goes wrong? I came
Exactly.
down with COVID 3 times in the last 3 years. And
Oh
out
yeah.
of the 3 times, 2 of them were wedding weekends.
Ugh.
I'm not saying that that's going to happen all the time, but it's real. It really does happen. And when that happened, guess what? I had people in place.
Oh,
They were
perfect.
ready.
Yes.
So, the trust factor is important. You got to be able to trust your photographer. That's why I said that chemistry is so important. That's why I do have consults and I do meet people and I do talk to them because I'm like, if we don't vibe, like if we don't have that connection,
Then you don't even want
then
them.
right, how are you going to trust this person to really do what you need them to do? I want my couples to trust me. And so,
Exactly.
it's just really important.
But I
That's
think it
one of the
also brings out better pictures.
Yeah.
if you have that chemistry, then you feel comfortable. And if
Yes.
you feel comfortable, if there's like shy people, or if you feel comfortable with the photographer, then the pictures are going to be more natural and they're going to come out
Absolutely.
better.
Absolutely. And I feel the same way too about being passionate about a brand, because it's like
Yeah.
if you just show up and say, "Hey, I just need some headshots." Okay, well, just stand right there. I'll take a picture of you. I mean, that's why I'm like, when I say I'm not trying to really attract like corporate headshot business, even though I am perfectly capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I really am interested in personal brands, because
Yeah.
I'm like, we can work together, because I want to know like what's going on. I want to follow your business. I want to see what you do. I'm going to promote your business. I'm going to support your business. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to really just be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? So then that way your photos are going to reflect the passion I feel about your brand. I'm passionate about my couples. I'm passionate. It's just passion. It's passion. It
Yeah.
really is. I
Yeah.
have this little tagline. I remember a long time ago, I was trying to identify, like, who am I? Like, who is Esme? What makes me different? What makes
Yeah.
me unique? Why does and I was like exploring all these different types of editing styles. Like, I was editing real like moody, and I was editing like almost like a matte look, and I just didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And the way the photos I was sharing were just all over the place. So I finally just sat down one day and I said, okay, I gotta come to terms. I gotta get to who I am, the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, what is it about me? What identifies me? When you look at my photos, what do you see? And I just
Yes.
started looking at all my pictures, and I started really thinking about which one spoke to me. And I came up with 3 words: passion, color, and joy. And that
Yeah.
became my tagline. And I have it in a lot of different places. I have it on the back of my business cards. I have it on my website. Because if you don't see one of those things in my photos, then I'm doing something wrong.
Oh, I
Exactly.
love that. I love
So
that.
passion, color, joy.
Passion, color, and
Those are
joy.
those are the 3 words that I feel, if I could identify my style of photography, it would be
Uh-huh.
those 3.
It's nice that we're having this conversation, because I never
Mhm.
thought of everything that went into, or everything that could go wrong if you don't do your due diligence when finding a photographer, let alone a wedding
Absolutely.
photographer. I always just went and looked a little bit here and there, but I never thought of all these other things that we're talking about. Of
Yeah.
what makes a good photographer, how to choose, a good
Mhm.
photographer. Um, so that's pretty nice, because now I know what to look for. Because Johnny, for example, has the wedding coming up, but
Right.
I had the beauty brand, which I will
Mhm.
rebrand, and I will have to be looking for branding, photography, and all of that. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
more knowledgeable now. Like, I'm not just gonna go out and be like, "Oh, that picture looks
Yeah.
cute. Let me hire them." It's like, no, no, no. We finna read
You
reviews.
definitely
We
you
finna look at
definitely have to.
chemistry.
You have to.
Yes.
You have to do all
We're,
of those things,
you
because
know,
you and this person are tied at the hip until the whole process is done. From before you get to the shoot itself, to weeks
Yep.
after the shoot is over, and then you hope that that relationship is ongoing. And I'm just blessed to say that my relationships with people are ongoing. I frequently get the people that got married to come back and do the pregnancy, to come back and do the newborn, to come back and do the family. I get the high school graduates to come back and do the college grads. I get the
oh,
branding
that's so
people
nice.
to come back and do new headshots, or to refer me out to another business that would be able to benefit from what I can offer. So you have, and then let's not forget, like you mentioned, Johnny Phil said that it was very nice for me to give vendors their photos. Well, guess what? That forges relationships with them too. So now
Mm-hmm.
those vendors now want to refer me to other people because I have formed a connection with them. So it's the human connection is so important. And
Yeah,
when you're documenting, because that's what we are storytellers and we are basically documentarians. And
yeah,
because we're that, we have to be able to understand our subject. We have to be able to connect with our subject. Yes, I can
there.
take a picture of anything. I take a beautiful picture of this wine glass because it's just so lovely and make it very artsy and everything will be
Uh-huh.
fine.
Pretty
But
cutesy.
you know what I'm saying? But if I know that this is a brand and I know who made this wine, and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, wow, this is like a family brand. It's
You
been
look
around
at
since the
it differently.
1800s. Look at that. This is a beautiful brand. I'm going to really make sure that that comes through in whatever picture I take for that company.
Yeah.
That is
So
so amazing.
before we close the episode, I want you to repeat again, like the event that you have, so those
Yes.
people can be in the lookout for that. Also,
Yes.
your company name, right? And how
Mm-hmm.
they can find you on social media, like that. People can follow you, and let's make this
Yeah,
happen.
because I want to follow you now. I want to look at your pictures. I'm like, I'm not
Yes.
following her. What's her
Follow
social
me.
media?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Incredibly weak. So the word incredibly, there's a whole story behind the name, but I'm not going to get into it because it's a little lengthy. But there is a little highlight on my page that says, I think it says our story. I can't remember, but it will explain the meaning behind the name. So
Okay.
it's incredibly and then WEE, which used to be part of my travel business name. So like I said,
Okay.
it's a
That's
story.
amazing.
It's a
Uh-huh.
story.
And we will have
So
it in our caption so you guys
Yeah, we're gonna be
absolutely.
putting your
can
name.
follow
And
her.
then
Okay.
we're at incrediblywe.com on social media, Incredibly We on Facebook, TikTok. I'm also a content creator. So
There you
I
go.
do wedding day content. That our brides hire us for wedding day content as well, which is becoming a big deal nowadays. They are
Mm-hmm.
definitely becoming more and more popular. And then the event that's happening on November 17th is the Branding and Headshot Marathon. And it's going to be taking place at the Crosstown Concourse. We're going to be basically doing a whole day of branding, social media content, headshots, just updating all your photos, getting all your photos done. If you have a product that you sell, if you're an author, if you're a chef, if you're a cook, a baker, it doesn't matter.
Love it.
Bring your products. We'll set it up. We'll have nice photos of it so that you can have content for your social media. And then also, there's going to be a makeup artist available, Mandy J. Pro. She is a hair and makeup artist, but she's going to be doing just makeup.
Okay.
And she will be on site. So if you want to book your makeup, you come in, you set up your design, you go get your makeup done, you come back and get your photos.
You get everything
One
right there
stop,
in
Oh,
one.
that's
one stop
amazing.
shop.
So you guys, if
Thank
you're a
you.
business
Thank you.
owner in
Yeah,
Memphis, you
one
cannot
stop shop.
miss this because she's literally made it the easiest thing for you to just show up
Easy. You
and
don't
get
You
have
your
to
have
go to the
pictures.
studio to come back
Yeah,
here
that's
to
so
go there.
amazing.
You just come in. Like I had my event designers who came in at the last one that we did in September. They came in like a couple of hours earlier. They came and set up all their stuff, their tables, their display, all of it, like a style shoot that we've seen a lot
exactly.
of. And they did everything. They got it set up. They went over there, got their makeup done, and then they were ready. It was showtime.
I
So
love it.
That's so
I
it was
love it.
great. It was great. And I got a lot of great feedback from that event. Like they were like, this is so dope. Like I
No, it
didn't think
is.
we could pull it off in 20 minutes. And I'm like, but we did. We
So that's
And
going
totally
to
it's
be
an
did.
amazing
the first
service
time
for
that we work
businesses here.
together. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited for that. After
Yes.
that, obviously, I'm still looking forward for my wedding and the engagement and everything. So,
Yes.
I know I haven't
Yes.
accepted the proposal, but I am doing it. Okay.
Listen, I already know we're here. And so I'm not worried
Oh,
about
It's
yeah.
like we're
you.
vibing. We're
I'm not
vibing.
Oh,
worried
yeah. Oh,
about
yeah.
her.
The
And just
We
chemistry
because,
is
good.
there.
It's there.
even though we have to change our mindset, but Rose and I, we're kind of like a procrastinator ish. We're changing that, okay? We're becoming better. We're doing better, and we're not
Yes, we're
throwing up
Good.
doing
in the
better.
universe, but we're
Good.
still
Working on
working on
ourselves.
it.
You're still working on
So,
it. That's okay.
you know,
That's okay. Listen, as long as nobody else comes knocking on the door
I
and says,
know on
hey,
that
are
day.
you available? I'm going to say, I might be. Let me check.
Let me check real quick. Johnny, you
Let
know,
me
made up
go
your damn
check. Because I don't want to be available.
I
So
know.
you know what I'm
You know.
saying?
Oh,
So anyway, we'll get it together.
but I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being here
You're
today. This
welcome.
was great. For those
Yes.
listeners, if you
I
guys have
didn't
more
thank
questions, yeah, if they
I was
have more
so
questions or
nervous.
want to know anything else, we can always do another like a live,
Yes.
or we can just
Yeah.
do another episode, maybe in Spanish. You know what I mean? For those that maybe don't comprehend.
Yes, that is a great idea.
I will speak my best Spanglish. I will
We can make it
listen.
work.
Us too.
If you
Us
know
too.
anything about a Boricua, you know we're not. Well, no. The Boricuas from Puerto Rico are fine, but the New Yorkers, we're terrible. And though I would say, out of all of my siblings, I speak the best Spanish. Derek,
There
shut
you
up.
go.
Daniel,
We can make
shut
it
up.
work. We can make it
I
work.
speak the best Spanish, and so I
We
could
can make
just.
it work.
I would probably say a lot of like, tú sabes, but I would do it though. I would do it. I do it. I
Hey,
speak
we can
Spanish.
try it all. We never
I
know.
can.
Yes.
You
Rosa,
never
Rosa,
know.
how long have you been in the States?
Who, me?
Like
Oh,
24
Lord.
years.
Oh, Rosa.
24 years.
So 24
Yeah.
years. So, and I've been here for 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think 13. Yeah. So, our Spanish, it gets deteriorated a little bit. We
Yeah,
kind of like,
yeah, a little bit.
and mostly when you tell us like, yeah, do a podcast in Spanish, we're like, oh my God.
In
Uh,
that moment, we forget all the words. It's like we
You
speak
forget all
Spanish
the words.
perfectly. The moment the
Yeah.
camera turns on and we're trying to talk all in Spanish,
like,
it's like,
bienvenidos a Latinos on the mic.
why you say that?
I
Wait,
know.
that
Right.
Host.
And see, I was worried about the podcast at first because I was like, I bet they all in Spanish. And then I started looking at your podcast and I was like, oh no, there's some English speaking people on here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
we're
Okay.
overdue
So
for
I
a
should be
Spanish
okay.
episode, though. We are
Okay.
overdue for a
So
Okay.
we're
Spanish
trying to do every fifth episode, but we are definitely overdue.
Okay.
But I mean, I think because we are in the South and we are in the
Yeah.
US, I think it makes
Yeah.
more sense to do it in English. But I know the word Latinas, it make everybody like, oh, it's in. A lot of people have told me, oh, Johnny, I'm sorry, I don't listen to your podcast because it's in Spanish. I'm like, I barely have
Mm.
episodes in Spanish.
If that's the
But
case, then I should listen to it more.
we do have audience that only speak Spanish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so
that's
they will
Yeah.
reach out and be like, when are you going to do a Spanish episode? You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
getting, like Johnny said, we've been procrastinating a little bit, but we're getting there. We're
Yeah.
getting better.
That's
Lately
okay.
we have. We've been working more. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we're so
But this
happy
was
you were
really
with
good.
me. Yes.
It
This was
was
really
great.
exciting.
Thank you so
I am
much. I feel so
So,
honored. Like, it's great.
so everybody remember to
Represent.
follow her on social media. We're going to have it in our caption. Remember the
Yes.
November 17th, right? Is
Yes,
your
November
the
17th.
marathon? We are you're
Incredibly
Latinas with
sweet.
a mic will be there.
Yes.
And remember to follow us on our social media. Mine's at Just Another Isela.
Yeah.
And I'm at Johnny Phil.
And also
And
at Latinas with a mic.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
I am so excited about this. Don't forget to be kind
Love one another.
and don't be
Don't be
stupid.
stupid. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.